Hey, hi, Pastor Dan Stojkovic here, British Union Conference Youth Teams the Pathfinder Director. And with me, I have Marco Phil, who is part of the North American Division team, and he'll tell us a little bit more about himself. And today, I actually wanted to find somebody to help me explain and also show us some samples of the new adventure curriculum when it comes to workbooks, but also when it comes to teachers' help. Just to let you know, guys, we tried to invite Pastor Andreas Peralta to join us, our GC Pathfinder Director, but as usual, he had a lot of Zoom meetings lined up, so it's going to be just Mark and myself. But it's not that bad, by the way. Okay. And just in case, if you're wondering where I am, yeah, I'm in a secret location, very likely in Watford, and not too far from home because of the Wi-Fi. But if it looks like a shed, it is a shed. That's all I have at the moment. My kids are sleeping at the moment. Mark, it's good to have you with us.
It is good to be here so much. I have had the pleasure of working with this incredible adventure project now for, I think this is 6 years, at least 5 since we started the project way back with Pastor Taal, who of course EUD stole from us a few years ago.
But we are so glad we have Jonathan back here in Europe. So that's great. Mark, tell me a little bit about how come you guys chose to go first and revisit adventure curriculum.
Okay, well, a lot of it, I don't know, for those of you that have been a part of both Adventures and Pathfinders like I have been, you've seen the Pathfinder ministry get revisited semi-often through the years. If you've been in it more than like 10 or 15 years, you know that Pathfinders is always adding this, that, or the other thing. It's always growing, doing something new. And Adventures has often felt like the evil stepchild.
That's right.
Cinderella-esque, as it were. Well, it's finally time for Cinderella to put on her beautiful slipper and emerge as her own, or should I say adventurer's own, out of the shadow of others and become its own ministry. And we can revel in the uniqueness and the specialness that Adventurers is. And Pastor Jonathan realized this, and he was like, man, we need to do a lot of revisions. Let's start with Adventurers this time. We'll get to Pathfinders later.
And that means that Pathfinders at some stage they'll be revisited. That's for sure. It looks to me. Is that right, Mark?
That is the next project, and I get the joy of helping out with that project too a little bit. It looks like
that's excellent. And at the same time, here, Mark, you need to know as well that when I came to British Union Conference, I felt very similar, like Jonathan and maybe you as well. You're right. Sometimes adventures get a second best, and the first thing that Natalie and myself, when we started working together, we actually decided we're gonna make sure at least that our adventures can get the resources and the patches, because at that stage in this area, everybody was just like, oh, Pathfinders, let's just do that. So big thank you for this, Mark, and also to Pastor Jonathan and also to Pastor Peralta, who took on the baton, and you guys completed the first, completed the revision of the curriculum of the all workbooks and also teacher guides. So Mark, shall we start with some major changes? What major happened when changes took place during this process?
Okay, let's start with the two big ones. We added 2 complete years of curriculum. Now, in the North American division, which is where I call home, we've had the age 4 and age 5 curriculum for a number of years. But even for us, it is a little bit of a change, because for many years, we saw these as kind of stepping stones to adventurers, and they weren't, quote, really adventurers. They were just sort of there.
Yes.
But a couple of years ago, the NAD voted them to be fully part of the adventurer program, mostly. GC, therefore, and I'm putting on my GC hat here, we said we don't have to totally reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
After all, we're all human beings. All of our children go through the same developmental stages as they progress, no matter what we call it. And they also progress spiritually in the way that the scientists have observed over the years. So we can take and we can look and we can examine, and then we can edit to see how can we truly match it up against sound pedagogical practices. That is, how can we make sure it matches their developmental stages?
Yes.
That it truly matches where they're supposed to be at these different ages and where they really are.
Yes.
How can we make sure that we're offering them the best and not just simply rewrapping the same old product? So we really tried to struggle with those big vision things. the biggest thing was those 2 new classes. And for those of you like in the British Union, you've been using some of the NAD stuff,
Yes,
if I'm understanding right, that you used Little Lamb and Eager Beaver, right?
that's correct.
Eager Beaver, this is kind of a funny story. We found that beavers only exist in North America.
Okay.
Really. There used to be a species of beaver somewhere in Europe, and I don't remember where. I think it was Scandinavia, but it's one of those extinct species for all practical purposes. So in most languages that Pastor Tahal would talk about beavers, they would say, "You mean rat?"
Yeah.
And they would talk about, that little creature that goes around with a big, long, scary tail and eats grain out of barns and sheds,
Yes.
Do we really want to call our adventurers little rats?
Also, Mark, there's a lot of people who are actually glad that the name was changed, which came to me to tell me that in UK maybe not the best connotation in many ways. So
Yes,
Mark,
there are lots of connotations that are not ideal.
that's right. So Mark, you're right. We have now little lambs, and then we had eager beavers. Is that right? And you are saying this is the major change because of what? You changed the old class.
Not which meant adding and changing a whole award, because you're not going to earn an award in beavers because you're not doing eager beavers anymore. So a new bird award showed up as part of it. We also, we have a lot of adventure experience within this crowd, this nebulous crowd of a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of phone calls. I don't even know the names of all the people we worked with.
Yes.
The joy of our international community.
Yes.
But we realized with all of our experience and background that Helping Hand was too easy.
Okay.
And we had been missing these 2 stepping stones to get kids started. So we also heavily revisited Helping Hand, because developmentally, Helping Hand are more like friends in Pathfinders.
Okay.
They are like builders developmentally. Okay. And that probably, if we had had the chance, 70 years later after Pathfinders and whatever started, we would have probably put the split an age earlier and put the Helping Hands as part of the Pathfinder curriculum.
Okay.
In the modern day developmental kind of stuff, that's probably how it would have landed.
Okay.
But because we're not going to reinvent the wheel at that kind of level.
Yes. So Mark, you're saying eager beavers are now changed to early birds. Is that right?
Yep.
Mark, you have a picture of that book as well, if that's right.
I do.
Let's just share this with everybody. We are privileged here in British Union Conference.
Right there.
Here it is. So this is what replaced eager beavers. Now, question, of course, Mark, is we already had it, by the way. This is so interesting. The question really is, people are saying, "Yo, Pastor, we already started with eager beavers. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna stop now and change in the middle of all of this?" And the answer is no, guys. If you started, just finish this class as eager beavers, and the next year or whenever you are ready, we are ready for you to change to the early bird. All right.
That's a wonderful tactic. Okay, here's a really cool another thing we did. For those of you that have done, the different shapes of patches that come with what was Eager Beaver and Little Lamb, the little chips and the stars and those are all gone. They're all now triangular. It's one unified patch design.
This is the first time I hear this, Mark. I'm just about to fell off.
Incredible. It is incredible. All the patches have the same unified design because they are part of the same program. They are not stepchildren. Again, we want to create a unified feel for our children. We sing the same songs. There's no separate Eager Beaver song, no separate Little Lamb song anymore. It's a unified 6-year program for adventurer age children ages 4 through 9. It's one unified thing, not 2 extra pieces to the old thing.
Yes.
Okay, for starters, we realize that parents are heavily involved in adventures. It's a bit different from Pathfinders, right?
Yes.
But most parents, even the best of us as parents, even though we're like, man, we think we're doing okay. Notice how we're even hesitant to say that because we're like, okay, what's going to catch us? What are we not going to catch at the next step? So as a result, we've done a whole instructor's manual, but also put it in the workbook as well, a whole bunch of helps for how do you know what the kids should be like, what you should be expecting, not just as, and there's of course adventure history here. That's a first for us, adventure club history and where adventurers came from. You know, there's the requirements, but then there's a whole bunch of stuff. What should you expect this age group of kids to be like? What do they act like? What kinds of things do they say? What are they super intrigued about? What makes them really frustrated? What's normal and what might need some addressing? Because sometimes we give kids a hard time for just being kids.
Yeah, that's right.
And with a little bit of time, like see that whole section of characteristics of early birds?
Yes.
This can really help us not give our kids a hard time for stuff that's just normal.
That's right.
So we've added these extra helps and we've put it in both the student guide as well as the instructor's manual on purpose, because we know these books will often go home with kids to their parents. If we can help parents be better parents,
Absolutely.
even if they're not instructors in the program, we've all benefited as a community.
Absolutely. And Mark,
So,
let me just tell you, this is actually the first time I'm seeing this teacher's guide, and I just love it. I love it. For everybody who is watching this, and if you're just buying a chance from British Union, but we still don't have these, so we're looking to get them, sooner rather than later. And we are, of course, being British, we have to change English to English, the one which the Queen speaks.
So check out this. Also inside, I don't know, for those of you that are involved in adventure ministry, you know that kids change over those 4 to 6 years. So for example, and I can scroll over here to this section. Here's a little lamb. These kids are 4 years old. They can't write yet. They can barely get a, check mark in, which is why the majority of the curriculum for them is check marks, little check marks to prove that they did it. Wow. Notice it says here in parentheses, note, the note-taking area is for adult caregivers. We're not expecting little lambs to write on these lines.
Excellent.
Again, developmentally accurate kind of stuff that we wanted to make sure all of us had the access to. Simple coloring. Notice we didn't do a fancy lamb for them to color. This is a simple line.
Yes.
Kids can succeed that are 4 years old at feeling good about what they've colored. This is a coloring activity.
Yes.
Creation days. Notice the numbers are big and simple. Trying to make things developmentally appropriate for the 3 basic brackets that we work with within the adventurer age group. So there's just some examples of the kind of look here in the little lamb. Builder, it's changed look a bit. Overall theme is good, but builders are 3rd graders, right?
Yeah.
Notice how visually we've gotten more complex.
Yes.
There's more words. There's more expected from a builder. See the lines? There's actual lines to work in and to write in. There's pages, there's charts to fill out. We expect more from builders, 8-year-olds, than we do from 4-year-olds. And we've done our best to build the book age appropriate. Age appropriate. Now, bottom line, there's still a lot of check marks. Do you know why?
Tell me.
This is an interaction guide. This is not for them to just sit down by themselves and just write down everything and note take everything. They're not in college. This is not a college class. This is for interaction between caregivers, people who care about these kids, instructors, counselors, whoever that group of people is.
Yes.
So there's still check boxes because, like this says, tell or act out the following Bible stories. There's no need to put note-taking lines there. This is an activity to do together. So trying to match the activity with the age group and with the expectation of the community. Adventurer leaders are different than Pathfinder leaders in many cases.
Yes.
Adventurer leaders are involved in adventures for as long as they have a kid in the program.
That's right. But
whereas
also,
Pathfinders can be lifers, you know?
That's right. But also, Mike, did you notice as well, we are now getting more hardcore adventure leaders. Like they're having a go at me. They're like, Pastor, I need a full adult size adventure sash because, I want to stay adventure leader, not a Pathfinder. So it's good, I think. It's very good that there is installing identity and they are feeling this is there where they can contribute the most.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I've been involved in adventures for 8 years now. No, 9 years now. And quite honestly, I may never go back. Granted, I still have a Pathfinder uniform. I've
Yeah,
got both a Pathfinder and an adventurer in my household. And so on went the Pathfinder shirt today. But adventurers is such a cool ministry. Such a
cool.
cool ministry. On the back of each book, there is a complete, and this is especially for the new leaders or the leaders who need a new jump start for an idea. There are complete for almost every single requirement. There's a materials list and procedure if you need an idea starter to get that going. At the back of each of it's in the instructor's manual, which is at the back of the PDF for a book that at the front has all those beautifully colored pages. There's usually 30 pages or so of instructor's helps at the back of that guide, just for instructors. So at the very front of the book is stuff for both instructors and leaders to help you understand the students in that age group, the kids in that age group. In the middle is that core colorful guide for the kids to enjoy and do everything in. And then at the back is here's how you can make your club meeting run.
Amazing, amazing, man. Mark, as we're going through this, tell us how many people worked on this project altogether.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I know I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours doing copy editing and proofing and visioning with different groups of people that Pastor Jonathan or Pastor Peralta would get on the phone or get on the call. A lot of people, many of whom are nameless in the list of credits. Their names are in heaven, but not in the credits page.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, thankful for each one.
yes, absolutely. Amazing job, guys. Amazing job. Mark, what else would you like to share?
Okay, we've got a brand new award book. This is first version of this, so my guess is you'll actually get one that looks better than the one that I have in front of me. But the award book, all of them revised. Notice they're all those nice little triangles. Everything's triangle shaped. No matter what year, notice all 6 years are shown on the front cover there. Inside, they're broken down into categories. And then you have on one page, you have requirements. Then the next page, you have supporting answers, supporting helps, and different ideas. Some of them have more helps than others. And that's a great opportunity. Say that you come up with this great idea that you don't see in the book. Email us. We'd love to include it in the next edition. The joy of PDF, you can always come up with a second edition much faster over time. So like I noticed here, that something that we can add and probably make it better for you all is which year fire safety is typically taught in. It's tied to a particular curricular element.
Yes,
As I was looking
we
through
get
it
that
today.
comment a lot as well. During the honors, they're saying, hey, can you make sure that the class is listed as well? So yeah.
Yep. So something even we saw at the last, we're like, oh, why didn't we catch that earlier? We'll get it. It'll get in there. But the award book is something that's really cool. We also have a director's manual to help directors know, how do I make the whole thing work? And again, you see all the credits of all the people involved. Really trying to communicate possible answers.
Yes.
We're past the era of absolutes. We can't say this is the only way things are done.
Yep.
What we can do is say, here are ways that have worked. And in many cases, here's why. We've often tried to answer the question of why. But bottom line, each union, each division, each conference will need to massage what we supply from the GC to meet your ministry focus right there. And Adventurers is big enough, mature enough, strong enough to go there and to be an incredible ministry difference. Maybe you've noticed that Adventurer kids, how many of them come from families or can come from families who aren't attending church right now.
That's right.
Maybe Adventurers is their first taste back into church.
You're right, Mark.
What an incredible opportunity. This is kid friendly. This is parent friendly. This is family friendly.
I just want to say a big thank you on behalf of our union. and for all your work, and for Pastor Andreas's and Pastor Jonathan's work. And we're just gonna keep praying for you guys as you now tackling the new Pathfinder curriculum, which you can't probably say too much, and it's all right.
Not yet. Not yet.
That's right. That's right. But hopefully at some stage we'll get some news as well. Mark, God bless you, and thank you so much for your time.